Hi everyone, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you po? How was your week? The youth presented a very good program last night. Pastor is happy and at the same time sad. Happy because Ginebra is in the finals. And sad because we were smothered last Friday. Well, pagbigyan niyo ng pastor, no? My son is an avid basketball fan, kaya nasasama na rin. Alright, we continue with our series on the study of First John. Do you love taking exams? Are you a good test taker? I did fairly well in high school, college, and graduate school because I am by and large a good test taker. However, I think in all of my life, I only failed in 2 written exams. One is the entrance exam for students, Philippine Science High School. And the other one is the scholarship exam for incoming veterinary students who have passed through. So, but we know that in this series, the first book of John is made up of a series of tests. Right? And Apostle John have written this book so that his readers could evaluate these false teachers or the teachers present at the time. And also that they could tell whether their faith was sound. And these tests were grouped into or categorized into 3 groups. One is the moral test, and it talks about obedience to God's commands. And then relational, that's loving one another. And last is doctrine, which is believing certain truths or truths about the work and the person of Jesus Christ. In chapter 1, in verses 6 and 8, we found the first 2 tests. Okay? But we won't discuss that now. We'll discuss chapter 2 and the series of tests in chapter 2. But before we continue, let's commit this time and look to God for His blessing. Lord, we pray that you would illumine our eyes, open the eyes of our hearts, that we'll understand, Lord, your word, and this is true. We pray, Lord, that as we discuss our relationship to the world, they will be honest, I will be honest, oh God, that you would just move and transform our hearts. Lord, we pray that we will accept, believe, and receive, live by your word. Empower me and fill us with your spirit. This is our prayer in Jesus' name. Amen. Now, so the first 2 tests are in chapter 1, found in verses 6 and 8. Now, in chapter 2, verse 3, this is the third test. We know that we have come to know Him if we keep His commands. How do you know that you came to know Him? How do you know that you have a relationship with Christ? How do you know? How certain are you that when you die, you'll go to heaven? Because your heart tells you so? Because Pastor Boyet has told you so? Because someone who shared the gospel to you has told you so? Because you feel like it? It says, we come to know Him if we keep His commandments. It's not walking in sinless perfection, but it is a style of life. If I'm going to ask our media team, Joseph, to take your life out and film 24/7, what style of life would we see? Would we see a style of life that desired to know God? A style of life that desired to obey the commandments of God? A style of life that is growing in victory in obedience? Or a style of life that sometimes is broken when you disobey the commandments? What style of life would we see? Well, you may say, Pastor, I've kept the commandments before, but I just don't know that after 2 years, I don't know why I am not obeying the commandments. John is saying, keep. You've got to keep on keeping. It's perseverance. Why do we have to persevere? Because that's the promise of God. He who has begun a good work in you will what? Complete it, will finish it. Right? And if the work is not finished, if the work is not complete, He didn't start it. Because if you are on the verge of perhaps not obeying Him for a time, He will discipline you. He will not allow you to just fall and forget His commands. Is your lifestyle marked with a keen or by a keen interest in knowing His commands and a desire to obey Him? How do we know His commandments? By reading His Word. Today is the last day of our Session 3, Discipleship Track 1. We have offered it last January and February, and the last offering would be March. We have a policy that if you're a volunteer, you have to finish Discipleship Track 1. That's why we can accommodate you if you want. We can teach in your group with 3 sessions of Discipleship Track 1. I hope that you will have time to attend our Discipleship Track 1. Honestly, for me, Bible reading used to be dull and terribly difficult. So I read it only because I felt guilty if I didn't. There was a time. But something happened, you know, as I consistently read on it. God opened the eyes of my heart. God took over. He illumined me. And I began to feel like He was talking to me from the Bible. The verses, the words there are leaping from the pages into my heart. And I began, you know, there are things that I feel these words are boring, these verses are boring. It came to a point that I began to stop getting hung up on those parts. And it became alive, it became interesting, it became personal. God was talking to me. That there was a day when I was reading the Old Testament and the wickedness of Israel hit me. And I said to myself, Lord, I am really unfaithful to you. Strangely enough, the more consistently I read it, the more the Bible became interesting. So, do you read the Word of God? Because it is in that you will obey His commandments. Do you keep His commandments? That's the first test in chapter 3. The next test is in verses 9 to 11. Anyone who claims to be in the light but hates a brother or sister is still in the darkness. Anyone who loves their brother and sister lives in the light, and there is nothing in them to make them stumble. But anyone who hates a brother or sister is in the darkness and walks around in the darkness. They do not know where they are going because the darkness has blinded them. If you say that you're a Christian, if you say that you know God, and yet you don't love brothers and sisters in the Lord, nor you desire to fellowship with them, John says, you are lost. You are unsaved, unregenerate. Now let me give you an example. So, are you familiar with the words in Matthew 25 where Jesus said, I was in prison, you did not visit me. I was hungry, you did not feed me. I was naked, you didn't clothe me. And guys, you know, who do prison ministries will always use this and tell us, let us go to prison ministries. Or let us go to the prisons. Well, we need to go to prisons. But that verse doesn't really have anything to do with that unless there's a Christian inside the jail. What does the verse say? What is its context? Now suppose in that time, during their time, suppose a person was thrown into jail not because of criminal activities, not because he was unlawful, but because he was a Christian. He will be locked in there and he will die there. He will starve to death unless someone will bring food to him. Now there is a danger there. Suppose someone will bring food to him, he will be a suspect that he is also a Christian, so his life is in danger. Now that is what Jesus is saying, that you have a great love for your brother or sister, that you care, that you can risk your life to care for a brother or sister. That is what he's saying. Brothers and sisters in Christ, a love so great that you can risk your own life. Do you love to be with people who love to be with God? Do you love to be with people who talk about God? Do you love to be with people who serve and worship God? Or would you rather be with people who, or hang out with people who have nothing to do with God? As a vet, I haven't seen seen chickens hanging around with pigs. I haven't seen chicken hanging around with cows. Oh, sarap ng food. It's so tasty. The mass, the feed is okay. No? Chickens hang around with chickens. Pigs hang around with pigs. That's their nature. So do you love other Christians? Well, you know, Pastor, I go to church every Sunday. You know what? The devil goes to church as well. And the church is not this hall. It's not this building. It's the people. How many Christians are you serving? How many Christians are you reading the Bible with? How many Christians are you loving? How many Christians are you praying for? And again, the call, the plea, would you join us in our growth groups? Because it is in that sense that you can pray for others. It is in that sense that you can read the Bible, we study the Bible, serve the Lord. Someone asked me, how did you know that Ineng, your wife, was the woman for you? Well, I said, it's really easy. I wanted to be with her. Bobby, right? Yeah. How do you know that you love her? I just wanted to be with her. How do you know you love brothers and sisters in the Lord? Do you want to be with them and talk about Jesus? Talk about Jesus? That's the second test in chapter 2. The third test is in our text, in verses 15 to 17. Few problems have been troublesome to Christians or for believers down through the centuries than worldliness. In an effort to be relevant, in an effort to reach out to our culture, there's that danger of us becoming like the culture. We lose our distinctiveness. Towards the end of his life, the Apostle Paul sadly wrote to Timothy. In 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 10, it reads, "For Demas, having loved this present world, has deserted me and gone to Thessalonica." Demas was not just an ordinary church attender. He was a fellow worker of the great Apostle Paul. But he succumbed to the lure of this world. And I would argue that the pervasive influence of modern media, the tag of this world, is greater now than it has ever been. Daily we are bombarded. Now, if you watch TV, especially if you watch the game tonight, between Ginebra and San Miguel, the advertisement, ganado ang buhay if you drink Ginebra. Diba? This is how you be strengthened. This is how you cope up with life. San Miguel. Diba? You will be bombarded with people advertising that if you don't own their products, you won't be happy. That you have to adopt their life, the lifestyle that they are pursuing. There are plenty of credit card offers, brothers and sisters in Christ, to help us get hopelessly into debt if we're not careful. That's why young people, young men, I always also tell my children, now that you're working, you have credit cards, live within your means. Pay immediately. You know, if you pay only 10% after 3 years, balik the whole utang, doble. It's lust for the things of this world that people spend billions of money with on casino gambling and lottery. Just one lucky hit and you'll have it all. We found through magazines luring us expensive cars, wonderful homes, expensive vacations, right? If we just get enough money or go into enough debt. Worldliness at its very core is a matter of the heart. If your heart is captured by the world, you'll love the things of this world. But if your heart is captured by the love of God, you will be drawn to Him in the things of God. And the only way that our hearts can be transformed so that we will love God is a supernatural birth. It's by a supernatural birth. That's why if you love the world, John is saying, are you sure you're a Christian? So John characteristically draws a very sharp line. If you love the world, then you don't love the Father. That is the love that God hates. And there are three things that I would like to share with you. Verses 15, 16, 17. Verse 15. Do not love the world or anything in the world. If anyone loves the world, love for the Father is not in them. Our 21st century is marked by its idolization of power, of wealth, of sensuality, of artistic freedom. Anything goes. What about the church? One very popular female speaker who travels, speaks, and writes. The title of her book, Prepare to Prosper, How to Experience the Power and Prosperity of God in your life. In other words, how to embrace the world. You must make a basic decision in life. Will you love God? Will you live to know Him and His eternal love? Or will you live to love the world and its fleeting pleasures? You can't take a little of both. That's what John is saying. And once you've made the decision that you have to live for God, then you have to fight to maintain that choice against the strong current of this world. Do not love is in, that phrase is in the present imperative, indicating that it is an ongoing battle. We are on a warfare, as I've said the last time. And love is the Greek word agape, indicating that it is a commitment. Remember what attorney said? No? You cannot command the feeling. So it's an action, it's a choice, it's a commitment. The only way that you can fight the love of the world is to maintain and grow in the love for the Father. What is the world or worldliness? The Greek word for world is cosmos, and it occurs 185 times in the New Testament. John uses it 105 times. 78 in his Gospel, 24 in the Epistles, and 3 in Revelation. It originally meant order, and it came to refer to the universe as the well-ordered ornament of God. Now listen, the word cosmetics, women, cosmetics, comes from the word. Now, if you apply cosmetics on your face, to your face, it is an attempt to bring it into order. What is the meaning? No? So si pastor also uses Eskinol to bring it into order. It may also refer to, that word refer to the physical world, or to the people of the world collectively. Now, in this sense, okay, it is not wrong to love the world. In this sense, in that meaning. Okay? You have to enjoy God's creation and love the sinful people because they need a Savior. But now, John also uses that word to refer to the evil, organized system under Satan, which operates through unbelieving people who are God's enemies. In 1 John 5:19, it reads, "We know that we are of God, and that the whole world lies in the power of the evil one. It operates on the basis of ungodly thoughts, ungodly values, ungodly motives, ungodly attitude, ungodly goals. It does not seek to promote God's glory or submit to the sovereign authority of God." See, it is in this sense that you should not love the world. And when John adds that we are not to love the things of this world, he does not mean that you have to hate your car, that you have to hate your house. Well, you may say, Pastor, you know, I love secular music. It doesn't matter to me whether it's secular or Christian. What matters to me, what is said in the lyrics of the song. What is said in the lyrics of the song. If what is said contradicts God's will, then it violates His will, then you're loving the world. For example, in our time, Pastor Rene, paborito namin ito eh. Oh, it's sad to belong. Nung high school kami. It's sad to belong to someone else when the right one comes along. Boldly or not? Oh, it's sad to belong to someone else when the right one comes along. Imagine you have a girlfriend and then somebody comes along and you say, I'm sad because he's the right guy for me. Or, let the devil take tomorrow. For tonight, I need a friend. Or just to have a friend, let the devil take tomorrow. Worldly or not? My favorite, gusto kong bumae. Hindi ko magawa. Oh, biblical? Biblical. Oh, you see, worldliness is primarily an attitude that is motivated by wrong desires and wrongful promotion of self. Now listen to this. A poor man who does not have earthly possessions may be worldly if he uses or he desires those possessions as a key to make him happy. A wealthy man who has many possessions, earthly possessions, may not be worldly, or is not worldly when he uses his possessions as a steward of God in promoting God's glory and His purpose. Okay? So to be worldly is to operate on the same principles as the unregenerate or the unlost, or the lost or the unsaved people. It is to think and act out of selfishness, out of personal ambition, out of greed, out of pride. It is to have a selfish desire for the things that you don't have and a sinful pride of what you do have. Worldliness, again, is to have a selfish desire for the things that you don't have and a sinful pride of what you do have. Rather than living for God who examines the heart, we try to impress people who look outwardly, who look on things outwardly. For example, if you refrain from drinking alcoholic beverages, but because you want to impress people on how spiritual you are, and take the pride that you don't drink and look at contempt to those who do, that is worldliness. Again, if you don't drink alcoholic beverages, but your purpose is to impress on them how spiritual you are because you don't drink, and then take the pride that you don't do that, and look at contempt with those who do, that is worldliness. I don't say that to encourage anyone to drink. Baka mamaya pagdalaw ko, punong-puno yung ref nyo ng beer. Okay? I'm only pointing out to you that worldliness is not keeping a list of do's and don'ts. It is a matter of the heart. The heart's motives before God. What is your motive in liking this thing? What is it? What is it that why do you desire this thing? In the presence of God, what is your motive in wanting that? Now, John, what does he mean by love? He's referring here to fondness or an affection for an object because of its value. It is an appetite, a desire, something that I take pleasure in, something that I set my heart upon, what I am emotionally, physically, spiritually invested in, where I get my comfort, hope, and security. We're not talking of the things of or in or of themselves. We're talking about our attitude toward things. So what is the ruling principle of your life? What drives you from the deepest part of your heart? What is it? Do you love the world? Life is a vapor. It is fleeting. Everything will pass away. All things will die. And we are to love God, the things of God, the things that are eternal. And one of the signs, one of the surest signs that you are a true Christian, you are not entrapped, you are not enslaved to the things of this world, to the things of this present evil age. We love the world. You know, I find it amazing that believers in Africa, in China, in communist countries, in countries that are close to the gospel, I find it amazing that they will die as martyrs, dragged through the desert behind camels, stoned to death, skinned alive. But they wouldn't deny Christ. I remember again, I think I've shared this many times, but it's always vivid when I watch that video of 3 Iraqis who were sharing the gospel in a market. And they were caught. They were flogged. And then it's in the town plaza where all the officials were there and people were there. They were buried, wasted, and piled of stones near them. And the people gathered, waiting for that whistle by the chief of police. It was televised nationally. And when they heard the whistle, everybody nag-aagawan dun sa bato at ibabato dun sa tatlo na nakalibing kalahati ng kanilang katawan. And there was a reward. Kapag yung blood nag-ooze out of the head, may reward. So everybody was jumping, you know, just throwing the pointed stones toward this grave until they died. They wouldn't deny Christ. You know, it saddens me. Here, Christians, kapag umulan, wala na sa church. Walang Uber, walang Grab, walang church. So lazy to come to church. So tired, don't want to wake up early in the morning. You know, whenever I see Sister Anne, the one who has stage 4 cancer, raising her hand, worshiping God, she is an example. She knows that God can take her anytime. But when I talk to her pastor, I just want to worship God. Someone can be skinned alive, doesn't deny Christ. Someone stoned to death, he would deny Christ. And this one will deny Christ, even of the smallest things. And then that really will call them born-again Christians. Call them born-again Christians. What do you think? What do you think? One cannot profess to be a Christian. One cannot be a Christian if one habitually, continually, time after time, invests his or her time, energy, and effort in the things of this world, in the things that are hostile to Christ and the gospel. This is something that is black and white. Second, verse 16, for everything in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life comes not from the Father, but from the world. There are 3 characteristics of infatuation with this world. One is the lust of the flesh. To yield to the lust of the flesh is not to love the Father, but the world. Lust refers to a strong desire or impulse. You know, when you read the word lust in the New Testament, it is almost always in the negative sense. When you read the word lust in the New Testament, it is almost always in the negative sense. Flesh refers to our fallen nature, the one that is not extracted when we got saved. The lust of the flesh includes any strong desire or inclination of our fallen nature, including sexual sins, but also all activity that stems from the self-seeking, godless nature that we are born with. One of the three things that the enemy uses is our fallen nature. He attracts us. Many natural desires actually are legitimate if they are kept under control and used within the sphere for what God has designed them. The desires for food, for companionship, for sex, for power, for security are legitimate when we keep them within God's limits and not allow them to usurp God's righteous place in our hearts. Are you addicted to food? Are you addicted to a chemical substance? Are you addicted to pornography? You know, you have to control. It's a natural desire, but you have to control it. Because if it has gone out of control, if it has gone berserk, then you have a problem. That's what John is saying. They become sinful when you try to seek to fulfill them in ungodly and sinful or selfish ways. Selfish ways. What are your appetites? How are you directing them? You know, it's that one small thing that leads you to be controlled by that lust. And it becomes an idol. Making an idol out of it. And then it leads even to ordinary pleasures being destroyed and leads to openness to betray even your closest friend. Whatever that thing is. You know, when you talk to addicts, why do you steal? Why do you do this? Because of their addiction to that drug. Wala na silang hiya to do the things that they're doing. And we can go on and on and on about these misdirected appetites, about these wrong appetites. Drugs, alcohol, whatever. Power, sex, money. You can fill in the blanks yourself. Appetites gone berserk. And John is saying, if you live like that, then you can claim to be a Christian. If you're addicted to this and this and this, you are not saved. John is telling us, you don't love the Father. Some people are being controlled by their desires, their appetites, by what they see as precious, forgetting the fact that these things will eventually destroy them. Let me ask you, what does what you have an appetite for reveal about who you are and what you love? Second is the lust of the eyes. To yield to the lust of the eyes is not the love the Father, but the world. Now this term points to the sinful desires of greed and covetousness, to one that which you do not have, and perhaps others may have. It also refers to the desires that stem from false and superficial values. You know, through our eyes, the world can appeal or appeals to us to find satisfaction in the superficial, which never can satisfy. You buy this new home and you will be happy. Find a beautiful woman and you will be satisfied. Find a handsome man. You will be satisfied. Ine, where are you? Are you satisfied? Get the perfect job and make lots of money, and your inner longings will be quenched. But as is evidenced by the lives of the rich and famous, none of these promises, none of these things deliver what they offer. You know what C.S. Lewis calls it? The sweet poison of the false infant. The sweet poison of the false infant. It looks so good, but it will kill you. It will last, but it won't. It will die. And of course, one of the saddest manifestations of this particular lust is your response and my response for the material well-being of a neighbor, of a brother or sister in the Lord, of our sibling. If you have problem with this lust of the eyes, you will ask, why then not me? And that's a natural response. We can go on and on and on. The things that we lust for are always deceptive. They are always deceptive, and they can never produce what they offer. And yet we see everywhere people abusing and finding security in them. Let me ask you a question. What does what you look at and how you look at reveal about who you are and what you are? What does what you look at and how you look at it reveal about who you are and what you are? And the third infatuation is the pride of life. To yield to the boastful pride of life is not to love the Father, but the Lord. While the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes, they refer to the desire to have what you do not have. The boastful pride of life refers to the sinful pride over what you do have. It is the desire to be better than others so that you can glory in yourself and your accomplishments. Where do you, or what is it that you boast in your life? Your name? What you own? Your power? Your security? Your gifts? Your talents? Well, there is a proper sense, of course, that we have to excel. That we have to do good in school, in work. That we have to do good in athletics, perhaps, or in theater, like the youth, they are very good. But, brothers and sisters in Christ, we tend to forget that everything that we have comes from Him. Comes from Him. And when you start boasting in your achievements and possessions as if that you had attained them because of your own strength, of your own wisdom, of your own connection, of your hard work. So, what does what you find security in reveal about who you are and what you love? Lastly, the one who does the will of God lives forever. Verse 17, the world and its desires pass away, but whoever does the will of God lives forever. The opposite of loving the world is not just loving the Father. It is also obeying Him. That's what doing the will of God is. The will of God, that phrase refers to obeying His commandments as revealed in His Word, as revealed in the Bible. As Jesus said, if you love me, keep my commandments. You know, a key reason to obey God's commandments is to know the transitory nature, the being temporal of the world and its lust as compared to the eternal promise of heaven. If you love the world or the things of this world, you will lose them at all, or you will lose them all at death. I remember again a story of my dad. We were separated. I was separated from him at a very young age, and when he was afflicted with stage 4 prostate cancer, I told him that, he said, you know, I saw the pictures in his office. He was alone with Magsaysay, with Marcos, with Era, with except for Aquino. He was there in his Lord. He said, that you're successful. That's also what I want. Well, hindi ka naging vet, hindi mo tinuloy ang vet, but even as a pastor, I want you to be successful. And then I asked him, how do you define successful success? Dad, how do you define successful success? Having all these things? You know what the Bible says? What does it profit a man to gain the whole world and yet lose his soul? And he was stunned. And he cried, I am not a good man. I am a sinner. I left you when you were just 7 years old. You know what I said? That's the first requirement. That's the first requirement. Admitting that you're a sinner. After that, he died after 3 years. If you love the world and the things of this world, you will lose them all at death. All the worldly person lives for is gone in an instant and means nothing in light of eternity. Even if you have attained all these worldly desires, what good are they at death? What good are they at death? But if you do God's will and obey His commands, you will abide with Him throughout all eternity. Isn't it wonderful? Now here are a few questions to ask yourself to evaluate whether you love the world or the Father. I adopted this from A.W.P. Which do you seek with more fervor? The wealth and honors of the world, or the riches of grace and the approval of God? Which have the greater attraction? The pleasures of the world, which are only for a season, or those pleasures at God's right hand, which are for eternity? Wherein lies your confidence? In the money you have in your bank account or investments, or in the living and faithful God who has promised to supply all your needs? Which causes the deeper sorrow? A temporal loss, or break in your fellowship with God? Is there something that you really love that you don't want to give up? Perhaps a boyfriend or girlfriend? O mamaya yun sa iyo. Upon which do you get more joy? Spending money for personal comforts and luxuries, or spending money to further the gospel? We need to make the basic choice. Will you love the Father, or will you love the world? If you love the world, that is the love that God hates. Now, if you have made the choice to love the world or to love God, you have to fight to maintain the choice. It is an ongoing battle. It's a warfare. Do not yield to the temptations of this world, the infatuations, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life. Let us do the will of God, and you will abide with Him forever. Lord, thank you for your word. Thank you, God, for the reminder as we go through these tests. Would you work in us? Is there love for the world? Are we easily attracted to the things of this world that we sometimes neglect you? I just pray, Lord, that GCF and everyone here, as they again evaluate themselves regarding this test, that they will make that commitment that it is you, O God, that will be their number one priority. Thank you, O Lord. So I pray in Jesus' name. Amen.